Hi, I'm Jake Bournet with the Grand Traverse Regional Land Conservancy. In this video, we'll be talking a little bit about some of the different tools that we use for trail building. Here's a basic tool that we use. These are called loppers, and we use this just to clear the trail corridor. One important thing is not to go after any branches that are too large, and when you are pruning a tree, make sure you're pruning the branch all the way back to the base of the trunk. So this tool here is called a rogue hoe. Rogue is the manufacturer. And it's one of the primary cutting tools, and what we use this for mostly is for our bench cut. And what a bench cut is when you're building into the side slope. And so what you're trying to do when you utilize this tool, if you follow me here, is we're trying to follow that same line, building the bench across so that water sheets down. And so what this will do is start to do the rough cut of our bench. And so you can kind of see what we're doing here. And so what I'm going to do now is when you drop the tool, about that angle is about what angle you want the tool to actually, the material you're pulling off. So what I'm going to do here is actually widen this trail out a little bit to get some more material down on this edge. And so you can kind of see how this will work as I'm moving through here. And so you can see how that is pulling material off the edge and pulling it down into the trail bed. And we'll use a Mcleod to come and clean this back up a little later. Just a couple other things with the rogue hoe. Primary cutting tool, and that's kind of all you want to use it for. You can use it to get some roots out here and there, but a preferred tool to use when you get larger roots is a pulaski tool, which we'll show you that later. But what you don't want to do is put too much pressure on this weld here. So if you're trying to use this as a lever to pull roots out, what will end up happening is you'll actually snap that weld. So just be leery of that. So this is a pulaski tool. You can see it's got one axe cutting head on one side, and the other side it's got a tool similar to the rogue hoe, so more of a hoeing type section of it. And what we kind of use these for, we reserve these for, is if you're walking along clearing trail on a flat section or on the bench cut, and you start to find some small saplings that might be in the trail bed. And so what you want to do is work to get those out of the trail bed so it's not a tripping hazard. And so again, you got the axe head if you want to come through and try to loosen up or kind of chop any roots that might be under there. And then you can come back with the hoe part of it and actually dig the tree out. And then you can probe around to see if there's any other loose roots that you need to chop out, and just use the tool to do that. Again, just keep in mind proper safety, you know, always make sure you're looking around your surroundings to make sure you're not swinging over your head and putting somebody else in harm's way. So that's the pulaski. This trail tool is called a Mcleod, and it comes in, the heads come in different shapes, but this is one of the, it's a thinner one, but what it has, some key features of a Mcleod that you'll see in all of them, is one, it's got a beveled cutting edge on three sides, and then it's got rake-like teeth on the other. And so actually what these are used for, fire crews will use them to build fire breaks, and we find that it works really well for building trail as well. And so on a fire line, what they're trying to do is get all the organic material off down to some better soil so that fire's not moving along. But we can think about that kind of same principle here. And so what you'll use this for is when you kind of you've done your bench cut or you've got flat work and you're starting to get some spongy materials, you're starting to see some organic materials and soils exposed. What we use this for is just try to rake down, pull some of that organic material out of the trail bed to get down to the better soils that are going to compact and drain well for foot traffic. So it's pulling out some of that organic material, and that's some of that stuff you want to get out of there. And then you can do a foot test, level it out, make sure what you're doing is staying level, not too spongy, not holding on to too much of that organic material. And so again, what that's used for, once once we've come through, done the basic trail clearing, got some of the leaf litter off, then this comes through, pulling that organic material off, trying to flatten and smooth things out. And what you can also use this for, and that's why it has this beveled edge, comes in handy, as you're raking along, you come up to a root or something, you can actually use this to chop a root out and keep moving without having to grab another tool. Okay, so this is just another type of Mcleod. You can see, if you compare it to the footage of the other Mcleod, this is just a little bit different shape to it. And so it kind of is a preference on what you like to use. These forks, the tines on these forks are a little bit deeper. So if there's a lot of organic material that you have to remove, sometimes these can be a benefit, but also sometimes these might be a little bit harder to pull through as you're pulling more organic material up with every swing. And then this is what we call a mini Mcleod. Our organization just started using these, but you can see it still has the teeth on one edge that you can use to rake organic material out of the trail bed. But the other thing that it has is this cutting edge that's not as wide as some of the other Mcleods, and that's why they call it a mini Mcleod. But what that can act as is, actually if you go back, you can use this to do bench cutting a little bit, like you would use the Rogue Hoe for. So that would be your bench cut, and you could get in and do some trail work.
So strange trail tool. It's a garden cultivator, right? There are mechanical ones, there are powered ones. Steel makes a backpack one that is often get used too. These are usually used in more flat zones to score and take out the organic material. So here you can see we're a little bit higher, there's some organic material. This actually will score the ground quite nicely. And then that organic material can just be raked off. You've got a level bed pretty quickly. So this is a fantastic way to do flat work in particular. That's the best use of this tool. The nice thing about the non-motorized, right, is that anybody, volunteer, anybody can use them. When you're looking at the steel tillers, the danger is that you can get those in the ground 3, 4, or 5 inches pretty easily. They just dig. And then you're into sand. This one, you got to work to get it in there. So people aren't going to do so much. And you can see this loose stuff kicking up. That's all organic material that will hold water, and this section of trail would never set up to that nice firm feel that you get underfoot of a well-used trail.
Thanks for joining us. To find out more about trail building opportunities around you, please visit our website at gtrlc.org.